Hello, everyone. Welcome back to X-Rays, where we take a look at industry evolution through the eyes of those creating change and innovation. I'll be your host, Rosalie, for this online show where we'll discuss and learn the latest, most exciting developments from industry leaders, pioneers, and innovators who are shaping the future. Today, we'll be speaking with Chris Weissbach. He is the owner and head coach of Phoenix Boxing Academy, a boxing training gym. Chris is trained as a sports performance specialist and was also an amateur boxing champion. So without further ado, let's welcome our guest. Chris, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks. Thanks for having me on.
I'm glad to hear it. Very happy to have you here on our show today and to talk about what it is you do. So to start, could you just give us an overview, perhaps, of what it is you do and the key features of it?
So what I do is I'm the founder and owner, head coach of Phoenix Boxing Academy, and we're based in Ottawa. And what we do is we specialize in non-combative boxing training, so traditional boxing training for multiple populations, from kids to adults to elite athletes, and also Parkinson's patients as well too. Um, Been doing it, as I said, been doing it for about 20 years. We do offer both private and group classes. That specifically what we focus the most is on the group classes.
Mm, mm. And what inspired you to create your gym?
Well, my background prior to my boxing career, I was a university football player at the University of Ottawa. So I was selected to go to CFL camps. So in preparation for a professional career, I joined a boxing club. I had actually done a little bit of boxing prior to university football when I was a teenager in high school. Trained at a boxing gym with friends who were boxers, and I loved the training. It was fantastic. Tried to talk me into become a boxer, but I was a football player and basketball player, and I just loved the training. So um, after 4 years of playing university football and being able to be a prospect and going to CFL, so Canadian Football League professional camps, I wanted to add the boxing training back just to enhance my training, give me an edge. Going into it, I was a lineman was my position, so a lot of it is hand-to-hand combat. So I was in preparation for going to CFL camp, doing the training, loving the training. It was traditional training. There were competitive fighters there, so I was sparring, and I was released. And I was a little disenchanted by that experience with either, with the Canadian Football League and with my agent and so I decided to take a year off football, 1 year of eligibility, and I sort of caved on the uh the 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 boxing, getting into competitive boxing because my coaches, when they were training me, they knew I was going off to football, but they were, really wanted to get me into a fight. So I said, okay, I'm going to take a year off football, finish my degree, University of Ottawa, and I'll fight. And that led into, once I got that in my blood, that led into training for 5 years, and becoming a provincial champion, set goals on getting into the national team and competing in 2000 Olympics. Unfortunately, in about 1998, just concussions, and I had to take a break just from headaches, severe symptoms. I think the combination of both football and boxing was not the best thing, so I took a break. Saw doctors, had CAT scans done, and just took a break and I backed into coaching by accident and working where primarily we're in Canada. So a lot of hockey players, OHL, NHL, were coming to the gym for cross training. So I started training with them. And long story short, that just backed into joining the fitness industry. I had a degree in exercise science or in phys ed. And this was, the late 90s where, boxing for cross training, not just to be competitive boxer, was something that was just starting to take root. And one thing like 20 plus years later, this is where I am. So that's sort of the background. I came from a different sport, looked at doing boxing training for enhancing my athleticism and became a boxer. And now that's essentially what we teach across multiple populations, not just athletes, but we train everybody like an athlete. That's essentially what our niche is within the boxing fitness industry.
That sounds really fantastic. And I'd be interested to know, are there any specific problems or challenges that you want to aim to address through your boxing academy?
So within the fitness industry, and then there's the boxing fitness industry, the fitness boxing industry, there's two different industries. So we're sort of, we're a niche within the fitness industry. And the one problem that I saw is that there's sort of two streams of training. There's sort of training if you're, a teenager or 20 something, high intensity, HIIT training, which is high intensity interval training. And then there's another extreme for the other population, the older people, you sort of 30 plus type of thing that type of training is not sustainable. And it's just, there's nothing really there. It's just sort of go to the gym, hit the cardio, sort of really watered down program. So, I saw that as a problem. And so boxing training, the traditional training is training like an athlete. So we're working on skills. We're working on athleticism, just the same training that I did as a competitive fighter. So that's sort of where we met that gap for primarily, we still work with the younger population and elite athletes, but with the 35 plus, 40 plus population that would like to still train like an athlete. They'd still like to be strong and fit and move well and have that culture of training. Um, Specifically, had that been an athlete prior to, getting into the real world, so to speak, getting into professional life, getting maybe having kids, have family, it's a different grind, it's a different life. And so they leave that sort of competitive world or that sort of training. So that's where we specifically target. I've written a book on it, The Comeback Blueprint, Train Like an Athlete Again. And that's specifically to target that, to say, hey, you're 35, 40 plus, it's not over for you. You can continue to train and train with intensity, but train with proper progressions and proper coaching and learn new skills and learn specifically boxing skills and enhance your athleticism without taking the brain trauma, the punches in the head. That's essentially what we focus on. So, within the fitness industry, there is a problem. The boxing fitness industry, there's a problem specifically, and that is you either train as a fighter and you go to a gym and you spar and you have coaches and you learn the sport. Or on the other end, you go into a fitness boxing program at a lot of gyms where it's very watered down. I will say the instructors necessarily don't have any real boxing experience and it's exercise. It's not technical. So there's sort of one stream and we fit right in the middle of that. So we're the best of both worlds. Our coaches are going to work with you one-on-one, whether it's a group or private. We're going to give you traditional techniques. We have 6 levels of training. You're going to go through a periodized progressive course where we cycle the training. So it's all done there's a lot of scientific background. I'm an exercise physiologist, so I've applied that to the training. So when you come to us, essentially it's a system, it's a training system, it's a culture
Mm,
of when you're coming in and you're training, just like you would be an athlete or a sports team. And that type of mindset and culture sort of differentiates us from so a lot of the traditional boxing programs where it's just every time you come in, it's just a different workout. Maybe it's a different coach. It's just kind of on a whim. So we offer the opportunity to train like an athlete in a proper coaching and proper program, professionally designed, even after your sort of athletic career peak, may be over. And if people have not trained like an athlete before, this is the proper way to train.
mm,
It's sustainable. We run in 8 week cycles and we build up sort of like a staircase. And we call it the week 8 monster. That's where we challenge everybody, to bring out their best. And then we continue the cycle. And that's how, and then you increase your fitness, you increase your levels and you move from one level to another. So that's how we've addressed the generality of I guess, the fitness industry and um, the problem within the fitness boxing industry. And
mm,
I think based on the industry trends, um, a lot of people are the industry, the market research that I've done, and that's published out in the fitness industry is a lot of people are moving away from disengaging workouts, from cycling's dropping, kettlebell workouts are dropping a little bit. Sort of the sort of mindless group fitness training where there's not any mental engagement in it is dropping, whereas things where strength training is increasing, skill training, these type of things, people want to be challenged. And the longevity training, the population's getting older and they still want to train, they still want to feel athletic, and that can be 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I have boxers into their 70s. So I believe the fitness industry is shifting into more of an educated type of training, and we fit right along with that.
mm, mm, absolutely. Well, it sounds fantastic as well, what you're aiming to do. And what was the response that you've had from your customers regarding your services? Are there any notable success stories or feedback that you could share with us?
Yeah, we've had, we've had great success stories. We've got close to 100 five-star Google reviews. We on our YouTube channel, we've got a boxing for better living profile, boxing for sport performance. So we deal with the athletic population, with the youth population, 10 to 12 years old, and the general population, which would be, we're looking at 35 to 60. A lot of success. People really enjoy the training. We've had former Olympians that train with us. Specifically, they enjoyed the culture, the training, the general attitude, the mindset of the people. Probably most notable was the Parkinson's program that we began in 2016, and that's been very rewarding to help enhance the quality of life of those that are suffering from Parkinson's, because boxing has been quite demonstrated to help in the process of neuroplasticity, and that is helping the brain regrow. So specifically, it helps Parkinson's patients. Boxing training does, because the skill training and the neuromuscular pathways that are developed through the training helps combat Parkinson's. And we've been had research done by the University of Ottawa that has documented these stats, and it's just been great. So there's been a lot of different highlights. As far as our customers, yeah, we have a lot of raving fans. We've had a lot of success. Part of our problem has been, being able to offer enough classes in enough days. But I will say, post-COVID, we're definitely back up to full speed. The COVID was challenging to the fitness industry, but we're definitely, firing back up and having a lot of success with all of our populations.
Absolutely. Well, that's fantastic to hear. And could you provide some insights into, the Academy's growth journey, including any milestones or achievements that you've had along the way?
Yeah, I mean, I started, really 1998, and really just working in the general population, working with one or two boxers. One in particular has been my coach, one of my coaches now for over 20 plus years. And he was the first one that started it. And I joke with him, I couldn't get rid of him. And then he came into it. We run now a coaching academy. So, we've gone from one or two people starting with once to just building and building. I was in the fitness industry, so I was doing strength training, personal training, working strength and conditioning with teams, sports teams, not just boxing, but all training. And then about 2002, decided to streamline with boxing, and that's really our trajectory. Really took off at that point. So now train hundreds, if not thousands, over the last 20 years. Our enrollment weekly is close to 300. So we training a lot about had a lot of success. I run a coaching academy, so my boxers I get up to level 6, and I can select them and then coach them. So that's been very rewarding to teach them how to coach others. As I mentioned before, the Parkinson's program has been fantastic, and we also have made a big impact in our community. We run a Punching with Purpose fundraiser every year for the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario. My daughter is an outpatient from there, and it's just a fantastic institution. And once a year we generate a big boxing marathon. We do, and we've raised close to $300,000 since 2012. So, and it's a tough workout. It's 2,000 punches in an hour, and we train for it, for 6 weeks, and we can only take 60 boxers, so we can only select certain ones to do it. And we've had great success, and especially surprisingly post-COVID, we've been hitting $35,000 every year that we do it in a one-day event. So that's been really nice to be able to give back. To the environment, and our boxers really like the challenge. They like to be able to give back. Many of them are parents and have had a great experience
Mm,
with the Children's Hospital. So, yeah, so many highlights, over the years. It's been great, and we continue to grow into the future. Um, as I said, mentioning the book, the highlights of becoming, a book, an author. Writing that book has been great. So many people get the book and they read it, and if they're current boxers, it makes sense to them. 100%, they love it. If they're new and they're looking in, they'll purchase the book on Amazon, or we have a free digital download, and they'll go, "This is exactly, this is exactly me. This is exactly." So it's been really successful that way. Um, and I wrote a book, a chapter of a book called Thrive: The New Rules of Lasting Fitness, is an Amazon bestseller. So the chapter that I wrote in there with 14 other top fitness pros in the world, uh, it's done very well sale wise, and I'm currently working on a third book right now. and that will be called the Boxing Edge, and that's targeting specifically the fitness industry and looking at to coach boxing and business to gym owners and trainers, fitness pros who want to implement boxing training into their gyms and into their programs.
Mm. And looking ahead, what are your plans for the future? Can you share any exciting developments or upcoming projects with us?
Yeah, so I sort of, alluded to that in the last one, and that would be there's a new company that is going to be essentially a sister company of Phoenix Boxing Academy, um, and it will be called the Boxing Edge Coaching Institute, and that is specifically aimed at the fitness industry, fitness professionals, and gym pros, and the focus of that. The book that will be coming out of that title, The Boxing Edge, Punch Above Your Weight, will be actually teaching fitness professionals how to run very professionalized, structured boxing courses, similar, basically, the Phoenix Boxing Academy system, um, to be able to run them to add services within their gym, either in a private training or one-on-one. Because, as I said, there is a lack within the fitness boxing industry um, of teaching proper boxing technique and classes, and there's a big need for it, a demand for it, and so the developing stages will be writing this book, starting the company, the Boxing Edge Coaching Institute, and then running virtual and in-person coaching certification programs so that they can teach the boxing to their clients and teach the boxing, non-contact, just as technical as if that they were fighters, and to be able to engage their clientele with that. The bottom line, I think the more people that do, non-contact boxing, the better the world is. So that's, one of our mission statements of, training the world one boxer at a time.
Well, that's a fantastic mission statement to have. And thank you so much for talking to us today, Chris. It was so interesting to hear all about Phoenix Boxing Academy, and the growth that you have planned for it as well. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks very much for having me.
And to our listeners at X-Rays, thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Rosalie, and I'll see you next time.